Good morning from the supermarket. I'm on a mission to diversify my food because I feel like I so much eat the same things and I really want to bring a bit more variety into what I'm eating. And also, I'm looking right now at having some fermented food, which is also just amazing for gut health. So I'm definitely gonna go for some sauerkraut, I think. And also, I haven't had tofu in a long time. So I think let's also take some tofu. So the mission this year and every year is to eat a wider variety of foods, which is something we talked a lot about in my health coach training. Because the thing is, different foods obviously contain different types of fibers and nutrients, and those then feed a lot of different beneficial bacteria in our gut, which is amazing for our gut microbiome. We want to have as many different good bacteria in there as possible because that improves our digestion, our immune system, and even our mental well-being. So I'm trying to implement that right away into my breakfast. I'm boiling 2 eggs and toasting 2 slices of sourdough bread. One of them I'm topping with mashed avocado and the other one with full-fat Greek yogurt. And then adding some cucumber and tomato slices on top. I love integrating some veggies into my breakfast, adding salt. And of course, the sauerkraut has to come on top as well. Some basil. And meanwhile, the eggs are actually also ready. And I can't believe how perfect I boiled it. I've never managed it that way. So soft and nice. And ta-da! Here we have today's breakfast. What a beautiful breakfast plate. I made myself a cup of coffee and doing my daily journaling, and I am really so determined of making this my number 1 habit for this year and really do it every single day. The impact journaling has on your life is insane. I think it's really the most powerful thing to do, and I can actually also really feel how much of a difference it makes. And so what I do is every day I write down, first of all, 3 things that I'm grateful for. And that alone, I think, is so life-changing. And it just really reminds me to be so much more in the present, because I know for myself that I am always so much in the future and always just kind of like thinking ahead and looking forward to things, and so much just not here, you know, and not appreciating what it is that I have right now. Because I realize that, for example, when I go through my camera roll and I look at pictures from a year ago and I think, oh wow, that was such a cool time. I loved this period in my life. And in the moment, I didn't think that way. I know that during that time I was focused on all the problems I had and just, not appreciating at all how amazing that time was. And I know it's gonna be the same a year from now, looking back, that I'm gonna be like, wow, what a nice time it was. And so I really wanna be so much more present and grateful for the things I have and just find a bit more joy in every day, because time is also just passing so fast. I'm turning 30 this year, which I actually cannot wrap my head around. I think that's so crazy. And so consciously taking the time to focus on what do I have that I am so happy about, I think that's really, really powerful. And then my other thing, maybe you already know this, but I'm writing down my goals, and this impacts me in several ways, I feel like. So first of all, it definitely helps me to just stay so much more focused on what is it that I want and that I'm working towards, and to really keep it at the forefront of my mind, because I think life is so crazy busy and there's so much going on all the time that it's so easy to just forget about what is it that I actually really wanted to prioritize, and to forget kind of like that bigger vision and that future self that I'm working towards. And it makes it so much easier to make decisions if you know exactly what it is that you're prioritizing, because then you can just act accordingly, right? And what it also does is that it opens up new opportunities and ideas and things that you normally just wouldn't see because you wouldn't think about it. Because you know this famous example that you decide, for example, to buy a red car and all of a sudden all you see is red cars everywhere, right? And it's the same with reminding yourself of what is it that I want, writing it down every day, and all of a sudden you see things that could totally align with it, or that could make sense to do, or someone mentions something and you have a new idea. And it wouldn't happen if you wouldn't have it on your mind constantly, right? So I think we really need to make use of that. And this also reminds me of this very famous quote. I need to find it and write it for you here, but it's something like, once you make a decision or you decide exactly what it is that you want, the whole universe conspires in helping you to get it, or something like that. It's such a beautiful quote, and I think it's so true. So being so clear on what it is that you want and constantly reminding yourself and writing it down is just really so powerful. So that's what we're gonna do every single day. It's time for lunch, and I have another gut healthy recipe in store for you, because another thing that is amazing for our gut is to eat fermented foods, because they contain probiotics which make our gut more balanced and healthy. And one of my favorite fermented foods is kefir, which is also really rich in protein, calcium and B vitamins. And I'm adding 3 big tablespoons of chia seeds and then also a big amount of Cylon cinnamon, blending it well and then letting it stand so the chia seeds can soak. And then meanwhile I'm cutting half of an apple into small pieces. After a few minutes we have a nice creamy chia pudding that I'm topping with the apple, a handful of blueberries and raspberries, some walnuts that I'm breaking into smaller pieces for some crunch. And then something you will probably see me eating in every single one of my videos is, of course, nut butter, because I'm addicted. So adding a nice amount of creamy peanut butter, and this is my lunch for today. I'm, by the way, currently trying to be more present when I'm eating, because so often I eat while I'm still working, or also I love watching something while I eat. But what happens sometimes is that I overeat because I don't notice when I'm full, and I'm actually also quite a fast eater, and how you eat is just as important as what you eat. So practicing to eat slowly, savoring the food, and also chewing it a lot, which is another really important thing for our gut health. After lunch, I taught 2 of my private students online, and then I made some time for my own practice, which is something I really want to prioritize even more this year, because I think it can happen so easily, especially when you teach yoga and Pilates, that you kind of forget about your own practice. And I want to share a few things with you that help me so much with staying consistent and showing up on my mat, because there definitely are so many days where I don't feel like it at all. But one thing I, for example, do is that I have promised myself I will spend time on my mat each day, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes, moving my body or also just sitting and breathing, because that feels doable even on those days where my motivation is low. And then oftentimes once I've started, I actually continue practice for longer. And this reminds me so much of something the author Brianna Wiest wrote, which is, it is essential that you learn to take action before you feel like doing it. Taking action builds momentum and creates motivation. These feelings will not come to you spontaneously. You have to generate them. You have to inspire yourself. You have to move. You have to simply begin and allow your life and your energy to reorient itself to prefer the behaviors that are going to move your life forward, not the ones that are keeping you held back. I'm giving you a lot of quotes today, but I hope you like them. And another thing I do is to always remind myself of how crazy powerful this practice is, how many positive effects it has, not just on my body, but also on my sleep, my mood, my energy, my cortisol levels, my hormones, just literally my whole life, and it will trickle into every other aspect of my life. So always reminding myself of the why. Why do I want to practice, and how will it make me feel? for dinner, I'm making us savory pancakes, which is something I love to play around with in terms of the fillings. And for today, I bought some minced beef that I'll prepare kind of bolognese style, so chopping some onions and some carrots. And I would say I eat meat about once or sometimes twice a week. I actually had a period in my life a few years ago where I was vegetarian and actually almost vegan. And I realized for me and my body that eating animal products and meat regularly is quite important because I wasn't feeling well at all during that time. I actually even lost my period. So I think it's really absolutely crucial to always listen to your own body and eat in a way that's good for you, because we're also bio-individual and have different needs. And I know being vegan or vegetarian is oftentimes also an ethical choice. And when I buy meat and in general animal products, I always make sure or try my absolute best to buy organic and responsibly raised products from farms that treat their animals well. As the last step for the bolognese, I'm adding vegetable bouillon, which gives it some extra flavor, and also some salt, and then just letting it simmer for a bit while I'm making the pancake dough. And I'm actually gonna make quite a lot so that I have some leftovers for tomorrow. So putting 5 eggs and then half a cup of chickpea flour. I love using chickpea flour because it has so much protein and fiber. Adding some salt and then a shot of milk, and I'm doing that according to feeling so that I get a quite fluid dough so that the pancakes become really, really thin. And then starting with the baking. I, by the way, love listening to podcasts while I'm cooking. I think it's so relaxing, and I will write some of my current favorites for you down below in the description. But I'm actually on the hunt right now for new podcasts, so I would love if you could leave me your recommendations, maybe just in the comments, because it would be so nice if we can just share our favorite shows with each other and inspire each other. Now the pancakes are done, it's time to fill them. So putting a generous amount of the bolognese inside, and then one of my secret hacks is to add ricotta as the cheese of choice because it tastes so nice, it's so creamy, and I love that combination so much. Absolutely no question that the dessert is gonna be a sweet pancake, and this is my go-to filling, which is the best. So peanut butter topped with Greek yogurt and then some frozen blueberries, rolling it up, and I love this so much. After dinner and cleaning, I usually start my evening wind down, and I try my absolute best to not be on my phone or my laptop because it's really crazy how much it affects my sleep. I have so much struggles with falling asleep when I look into my phone or laptop, which I also know it's just a known fact that it's not good for your melatonin production, but I really feel it extremely much, so I have to be so strict with myself there. And then I'm getting bed ready, doing my oral care, taking off my makeup, doing my skincare, which I stick to religiously every evening and morning. I can put all the products that I'm using down in the description for you if you're interested. And it's time to go to bed. And I kid you not, but my favorite moment of the entire day is to lay in bed at night and read. I enjoy it so much, and I either read something inspirational, one of my favorite authors is Brianna Weiss, so reading one of her books right now, or I also really love romance novels, so I'm also gonna put a link for you down below with a selection of my favorite novels if you're into them as well, because I think I have a pretty good selection there. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you could like this one here as well, where I'm sharing lots of more healthy recipes, and I hope I'll see you soon. Bye!